So what Brasilia became in less than 20 years wasn't the city of tomorrow at all. It was yesterday's science fiction. Nothing dates faster than people's fantasies about the future. This is what you get when perfectly decent, intelligent and talented men start thinking in terms of space rather than place, and about single rather than multiple meanings. It's what you get when you design for political aspirations and not real human needs. You get miles of jerry-built platonic nowhere infested with Volkswagens. This, one may fervently hope, is the last experiment of its kind. The utopian buck stops here.
Third-party endorsement by bringing
space and a particular
whether it's designer jeans, sofas or sneakers, headphones, candy, vodka, hamburgers. We find what is true and unique about each one and tell the story that only it can tell.
There is some path
its pleasures and effects on the viewer or listener. The narrative group has worked with many of the world's favorite brands, creative way,
which we can find. Which is characterized. So if I want to design the structure, I must choose
brand's story to the editorial community in a strategic media relations.
Surface.
In media terms,
I cannot build the structure any other way.
Narrative is the coherent organization given to a series of facts.
This is the set of all equilibrium I want to.
We not only introduce your brand, but continually keep the conversation fresh through innovative pitching.
So, for example, but keep the stiffness constant of the structure. If I have a structure and I want to...
One important aspect of narration is the point of view.
Control this shape, this shape, this shape. I could stop
the human mind needs narrative to make sense of things.
At any moment of time, and
we capture the elusive. It is important to ask what we, as viewers, bring to our viewing.
So if I control the energy out of the shape is theoretical.
Even so, it's not enough. Man is an animal who judges. And even in a culture which is split as disastrously and as many ways as ours has, the problems of choice and taste and moral responsibility for images still remain. In fact, they get harder. But the rock upon which the avant-garde sank was that art could no longer control that responsibility.
The brakes take a similar direction in the two panes. So when you put them on top of one another, they seem to continue the same brakes as though I had it done it in purpose.
Duchamp's finely tuned indifference is one of the divides between the late machine age and the time in which we live. The large glass was a long way from the optimism and the sense of possibility with which greater painters but less sophisticated men than Duchamp greeted the machine in those long lost days before World War I. For machinery was now turned on its inventors and their children. After 40 years of continuous peace in Europe, the worst war in history cancelled the faith in good technology. The myth of the future went into shock, and European art moved into its years of irony, disgust and protest.
The marketing.
So we have to bend it into place, right?
Or angle of vision from which the events are narrated or viewed. Influencer marketing.
Either threshold energy I require, the energy I have to put in the structure.
Media texts present versions of the world through packaging of events and characters into stories. They may also be mini narratives or narrative snapshots. Limited or single narrative events which lead the viewer to complete the narrative. A technique which is used in many magazines and television. Listeners, viewers, and the audience.
So then we use our soul energy I require, the energy I have to put in the structure that acts like a rigid body, but in some...
They may also be continuous or serial narratives, such as television news broadcasts or self-narrative.
You see lots of mechanical structures.
Such narratives may be extended and developed, as in film dramas or documentary programs where the whole story is told.
Then the material can be specialized to take advantage.
One of the most important of these is through the codes and conventions of narrative.
Integrity model, this is its integrity system. So,
do we simply reconstruct the meaning that was put in by the producer or director? Or is it more an issue of our personal and subjective responses?
This is confessive members and tension members.
Our feelings, thoughts, attitudes and values, which we then bring to what we want.
You had direct staples to different parts of the red blood cell membrane. So, and biology was my motivation to look more seriously at architecture of biology.
A particular event or image may mean one thing, denotation.
So this is every blood cell, every cell in our bodies,
but may take on one of a number of connotations for an audience.
Some kind of its integrity. So let me give you some examples from biology. If you look underneath the red blood cell,
analysis of examples reveals the importance of this aspect of media narration.
So the atomic structure of
particularly when considering advertisements.
The other motivation for me was Smalley, who won the Nobel Prize in '97 for his work with graphene.
Narratives necessarily imply a viewer or listener because of the nature of the film or television medium.
If you fold it about this axis, you get
as highly visual forms.
If you fold it about a different axis, you get this structure.
Who is addressed, on what terms and in what ways.
You close this way or this way or this way.
And to a certain extent they construct that viewer, or address certain types of viewer in certain ways.
If you fold the sheet around to make a cylinder.
The issues of denotation and connotation have been extremely important in helping us to describe and analyze the meanings that we find in film and media texts.
And so if you change the rules of closure,
and to be responsive to the functions of the type of program, informative, entertainment, moral awareness.
So I will skip the details.
Viewers need to be familiar with the conventions of the narrative. Think, for example, of what happens if you laugh your way through the news.
You have the same material, but the rules of closure give you totally different mechanical properties of the final result.
Now don't worry, Mommy will take care of everything.
It has been remarked that every media text constructs its own implied audience to one type of viewer rather than another, and therefore excludes particular gender. This obviously has important implications for exploring what pleasures and profit individuals get from films, programs, and why some types of narratives just do not appeal or speak
Why couldn't we do this with mechanical?
to individuals or groups, racial, social, or age groups. Within a narrative, a narrator will use certain codes for particular effects. For example, the use of certain codes to generate or control the flow of suspense, narrative codes, to provide setting, to engage the viewer's attention, to reveal character, or to further the plot. It has been argued that everything within a narrative has a particular function or serves a purpose. Nothing is ever superfluous.
So that we develop the rules of closure material and how we get the thing together. So that we develop the rules of closure. We develop the rules of closure.
Setting, viewer address or character codes are used. This refers to the type of narrative which is being presented.
With some guarantee on what the mechanical properties are going.
And their effects. Analysis of particular narratives will reveal where such enigma,
an array, a local topology.
The newscaster or the football commentator is one type of commentator, as is the voiceover in a television commercial. But may also implicitly or explicitly evaluate or authoritatively comment.
How to put things together.
Tells the story upon the presented material.
In the presence of external distributors. So,
a particular program or film may stick to one genre, but may also combine elements from different genres.
Given stiffness, so that's how we design the control.
We engage influencers and celebrities that are perfectly selected to be image enhancing for brand campaigns large and small.
Suppose I want a play. So this was done for a space company who was interested
in film and television narratives. It might appear as though there isn't a narrator, in the sense of there being a recognizable teller of the story. Narrative form. This refers to the particular way in which a narrative is put together.
And if we want to analyze